I recently reached level 100 solo without using any glitches. And a lot of you guys have been asking me, what are good solo strategies? So this video is for you, whether you're just tired of playing with friends because they grief you all the time, or you're just like me and just simply prefer playing solo. The good thing is that everything that you're going to learn in this video also applies for co-op. I will be separating this guide in 3 major segments. This is my solo beginner guide for repo. I hope you enjoy. Starting with the very core mechanics with hidden features that you might still not know to this day, even after playing for a while. Playing solo, all the loot is very important because there's a lot of items that you will not be able to bring back or that you will be struggling with. When it's your first time touching an item, you will have iframes on this item for a short amount of time, so make sure that as soon as you grab it, to pull it towards you as fast as possible so the collisions don't matter. The cart and the extraction points have the same concept. Whatever items are in these areas, you will not be able to break the items, which makes it very nice for height if you have to drop an item from very high up, or just moving your items around on the extraction points. I see a lot of players that use their camera movement to open lockers and doors. And honestly, to loot faster, what I recommend you guys doing is use scroll wheel so you can open containers faster. This game is all about patience, so play slow. Don't worry about enemy respawn timer or stuff like that, especially if you're just beginning. You can easily hide from most enemies. Never leave the cart in the middle of the way because enemies that get stuck in the cart will start attacking if they get stuck for too long. The cart is also a really good hiding spot because you can hide behind the handle there and you are actually in the hiding state where most enemies won't be able to see you. Stamina management is something crucial. You should learn how to manage your stamina, absolutely. Because a lot of the time an enemy is going to catch you off guard, you will not see or hear him until it's too late. Now, in this part of the video, I will be covering the RNG aspect and how to curve that RNG with skill and with good decision making. For the enemies, something very important to know that I use literally every round from level 1 to level 100 is to know how many enemies there are on your map and what the enemies are. I won't be covering all of the enemies and their counterplay and why they're annoying in this video because there are plenty of videos about this on YouTube already, but if you want to see videos dedicated to enemies, just leave a comment and I might consider it at some point. There are a few enemies that I want to cover and some stuff that is not well known or that should be known for solo because these can be run killers if you don't. Starting with the headman. The headman was one of the enemies that I hated the most. He's very annoying early game because he's very fast and if you just hide from him in front of his face, basically, he will just stun lock you to death. Luckily, he's very blind. You can very easily make enough distance and just slide into a tumble around a corner and he's going to lose you. If you are crouched, he will also lose you, but if he goes above you, he's going to hit your hitbox and aggro. So that's why tumbling is really good in this situation because he will just go past you basically. The duck can also be annoying where you have to be super careful because you don't have enough stamina if you hit him by accident. If you use a toilet that is not as well known as I thought it was, you can make him stunned and then kill him for easy money. Same with cauldrons, or you can also just tumble into him from far away and he will not aggro you. He will simply just look around and not detect any player and just go back to his roaming state until he sees you again. If you have a robe or a huntsman early game, it can be very scary because these two make no sound and basically one-shot you until you get some HP. So if you know that one of these two is on your map or that you don't know what your tier 3 enemies are, just be careful until you have info on what your enemies are. A lot of enemies make noises where the huntsman is going to unfortunately detect them and shoot and might unfortunately hit you. There's a little bug with the duck where if the duck jumps, the huntsman is going to detect you and shoot at your position. Other enemies like the gnomes and the bombers or even the spewer can make having a huntsman very tricky. Now let's talk about fighting. Fighting with no strength or no weapons and being solo can be very tricky. Some enemies like the Spewer, the Rugrat, or even the chef can be easily killed with some small items that are not worth a lot, but very resistant. They will always generate a plus value because the orbs are worth a few thousand. Speaking of orbs, there's a mechanic with the orbs where when you kill an enemy and the orb is pale, it is indestructible. But as soon as it turns purple, that means that it is very fragile. And only 3 can drop from each enemy spawn, so you cannot farm them infinitely. Extraction points. In solo, extraction points can be very difficult to deal with because you sometimes have to put a lot of items on your own very quickly. Two drones that I recommend using for this are Feather and the Gravity drone. I will be covering items later, but I just wanted to let you guys know that they help a lot with extractions. Take all the time you need to set up everything properly before committing to any extractions. Especially the first one, it's very safe and has a big flat area. A few tips that I can give is that don't be scared to break your items slightly so you are under the threshold to sell, so you can set up your items on the extraction point without having to put all of them at the end. You can also use the lights to put item up there so you have more space at the bottom to put more stuff. If you want to know if one of your items broke, simply look at the number while it's extracting. The number is going to go down with a red glowing effect. Some big items can be very tricky to position, so here are a few items that you can actually just put flat down and that will not break, even though it's kind of looking like it is going to break. The clock, the broom, the statue, and the server are 4 items that actually works, as you can see in these clips. With all that knowledge now, let's dive into one of the most asked questions, what to buy. Let's start with the perks, which ones are worth buying and using and which one are not. Strength and health are the 2 best upgrades by far. You want at least 1 extra health so you are over 100 HP, because then you can survive Shroud, Shockwave, Huntsman Shot, and Robe, because these enemies can catch you off guard sometimes. But strength is the most important by far, because in solo you cannot have people helping you to carry items, and you don't want to have to rely on Feather Drone your entire run, as well as also killing enemies with strength is very powerful. Once you hit 13 strength, you can basically kill every enemy, but that's gonna change in the future, so I'm not gonna be covering that in too many details. But yeah, you want at least 4 strength for most easy enemies, you want 9 for most annoying enemies, and 13th to just basically deal with every enemy. The only reason why I would skip strength in the shop is if I see the indestructible drone or the Feather drone, as these 2 comboed are literally the best things you can have in the game, but I will be covering that right after. The sprint speed. This is actually very overrated. You would think that having a lot of speed is good because you can run away from enemies, but it also consumes your stamina way more if you do short bursts, which you will do a lot later, and also hitting doors too hard or walls or whatever can just stun you for some reason. So after 5 speed, I would look into maybe slacking on the speed and see where you are comfortable, because personally I stopped at 5 speed. I did not go above 5, and that is even after level 100. For the tumble, I have 0 tumble upgrades up to level 100. I think tumble is not the best to have if you want a consistent run, so I would just buy it for the shop manipulation and never use it. The shop manipulation, which I will talk about in a bit. The double jump is actually very good. That being said, I think it's not worth buying it all at the beginning, or maybe 1 if you have extra money, just so you can loot the vertical areas in some maps that can be tricky to reach. For the range upgrade, there's something that I was not aware of, which makes it so you will save a lot of money. Basically, after 4 range upgrades, you cannot scroll out more than what you see. And after 8 range upgrade, you cannot grab from further away than what you see. So anything past 8 is basically useless. And for early game, I would recommend maybe getting 1 or 2 if you have some extra money. It's very good to deal with enemies as well as grabbing items that can be sometimes annoying to grab. Stamina. It's something that you buy whenever you have leftover money, basically. Always buy stamina or save for more upgrades on the next round. But I personally, most of the time, just buy all the stamina that is there. And also, you can do a little trick where you save it in your cart, so when you're out of stamina you use it and then it literally refills all your stamina, so you can go deeper faster and skip the first rooms so you can loot them on your way back to the extraction point. The map upgrade is very useless in solo because basically the map upgrades, all it does is show you how many players are alive, but there's only 1 in the shop, so I would also buy that whenever you have extra free money later, a little later, so you can get rid of it permanently and have more other upgrades that can spawn in instead. Now you might be asking, what is upgrade manipulation? So there's a total of 17 upgrades that can spawn at the same time. And what it means is that if you buy, for example, the tumble launch, there's only one tumble that can spawn at all time. So that means if you have it in your truck, it cannot spawn again until you use it. And then you have more chances of having something else that is better to spawn on the shelf in the shops. The thing is, there's only 10 upgrade slots available in the shop, but they are not guaranteed to spawn in the shop. So even if you have enough upgrades in your truck, what you're looking for in the shop might simply not spawn for this round. Now, if you understand the concept, you are down to 15, so you can just fill up your truck with 5 more upgrades that you won't use, and you are guaranteed that the shelf spawns are going to be what you want. And this is entirely up to you, but personally, I would keep some stamina, sprint speed, and the single double jump that gets spawned. And maybe grab range if you reach 2 to 4 early enough. Now up to the shop items. So realistically, there's only like 2 or 3 items that are worth buying. Those being, of course, indestructible and feather drones. These 2 comboed are literally the best thing in the game. Since you can't really rely on teammates or strength early game, having feather drone makes your life so much easier. And indestructible makes it so you can easily navigate the map without having to worry about breaking items, which is useful with vases or stuff that can break easily and that are worth a lot of money. So you want this combo as soon as possible because this is going to generate you a lot more money and get you a lot more upgrades. The tranquilizer gun is something that you should not skip, but this is very situational. It is very good early, so you don't have to deal with a lot of enemies, making it so you can just drop them into pits. The tranquilizer is very useful to use the tech where you hide under an item, like shown right now, where you basically just bring it out as you are crouching and looking up, and useful for extractions to stun an enemy and make sure it doesn't respawn in front of you instead of killing it. I still have the tranquilizer equipped on me even at level 100. Medkits. Once you start having enough money and upgrades, I would buy at least 1 medkit to keep on your truck so you can have an emergency healing in case you are one shot, especially the 100 HP one that saved me a lot of times and is a really good replacement for the feather drone at some point because it's a free 100 HP that you're holding, and you can also break line of sight with the peepers. The last item on the list, the small cart. This item is actually goated. There's a lot of strategies around it, but the most important one is the fact that you can also hide from the peeper with it, as well as hiding from huntsman shots or not taking damage from Mentalist, pushing trudge down in the pits. Oh, and you can just bring it out and hide behind the number display like you can do with normal cart. A lot can be done with a small cart, but you can also easily play without having it at all. I've done it. I've never used it in my run, even though I acknowledge how good this item can be if used properly. So yeah, strength, health, indestructible, feather, and trank is basically what you need to look for early game. So for this last part of the video, I want to talk about mid-game strategies that are important to know, how to set up a game plan, especially when you reach 4 extract points in level 6 where there's going to be 6 enemies, when to take fights and when to stop greeting for loot. Starting with my favorite strategy, keep the closest extract for the end always. That way, whenever it's lights out, you're almost at the truck already. You can approach this strategy in 2 different ways. First, the one that I use the most, you want to greed as much as possible to bring as much loot as possible to the first extract. Like I said earlier, the first extract is always the safest. Enemies are very far, they have a period time where they're idle for the first levels. So bringing all the loot at the beginning makes it so you can manage all of it very efficiently and make a lot of money that is stored in a single bag that you can move around the map very easily. What I like about this strategy is that you have a lot of value in a single money bag. So example, you have gnomes and they're coming for your loot. You can simply put the indestructible drone on the bag and then deal with them, and they will not make you lose any money. Once the first extract is done, you often have left in that money bag enough for at least another extract and a little more sometimes. So then it really depends while navigating the map what is around you, how many items, what is the value of the items, and you can kind of know how much you will need simply because all 4 extracts are usually around the same price range. Then it's just a matter of managing your loot properly, where by the time you fulfill the 3rd extract, you have enough money to go all the way back at the beginning to complete the 4th one, which is the one near the truck. So you can decide, for example, on your 2nd extract that you're going to greed a lot, so you have enough to complete the 3rd one and the 4th one, which is the one near the truck, like I said. Or you can gather the strict minimum or even sell the bag instantly for your 2nd extract and then deal with the 3rd one and get all you need at the 3rd one. But at this point, all these scenarios might be confusing, but you will eventually, after doing a lot of runs, understand and kind of sense which strategy is the best to use in what scenario. The downside with this strategy is the fact that, like I said, you have one money bag, so you have to be careful not to lose it to any stupid things that can happen. And also the fact that you have to go all the way back at the beginning after your third extract with a money bag that has enough value, because you won't have any loot since you looted the entire area around that extract. This is where the second strategy for looting comes in play, where I haven't used that strategy a lot, but I like doing it and I might do it more often when the RNG lets me. You want to gather exactly enough for 2 extracts at the beginning, so you complete the first extract and then you go to your close one and drop the money bag with the leftovers there for the end. What is good about this is the fact that then whenever you complete your third extract and you're going back to the fourth extract, which is the one close to the truck, you already have your money bag secured there, so you don't need any loot. This strategy is not consistent because sometimes you'll have a lot of rooms that are very empty near the first extract, so you might as well just complete the first one and go deeper instead of bringing everything back at the beginning. What is really nice though is the fact that you don't have a money bag in your cart. You can just grab all the loot you want and then just deal with the 2 late extracts with their own loot in their respective area. And also I guess the loot near the extract where you drop the money bag. Either way, never open the second extract ever. You can choose which one you want to open and never open it, because when you open one, you cannot close it. So you will need to fulfill it if you want to proceed to the next one. Skipping the first few rooms early is good because if you just go deeper with the loot that you found in the first few rooms, you might not have enough space in your cart to bring back everything from the rooms after. So what I would do is just skip 1 or 2 rooms, loot a little deeper, and then come back. If you have enough space, grab the loot near. If you don't, just drop it off at the extract and then go back and pick it up. There are also scenarios where the first few rooms are going to be very dangerous, long pit rooms with no loot. And in this situation, what I recommend doing is you just get the bare minimum for the first extract, fulfill it, and then you go in without having to worry about these rooms anymore, because you won't have to do back and forth over and over and risk dying to dangerous pits. At this point, if you're mid-game and you have these large maps with a lot of enemies, when do you take fights? Honestly, I would not take any fights unless you know you have enough strength to pick the enemy up and that there's a pit around or there's a way to take cover while killing the enemy, and that you are sure that there are no other enemies around that can kill you. It is honestly the safest way to go about it. Like I said earlier, play patient, hide if you need to, avoid unnecessary risk. If you leave the area for around 20-30 seconds, the enemies are going to despawn. The map is very easy to understand. It is usually split into 2 or 3 branches, and if there are 2, it means that one extract is going to be near, and at the end of these branches there's going to be an extract. And if there are 3, usually it means like they're split evenly. And that again, it's also something that you will get familiar with while playing the game a lot, and you can also, if you didn't know, hear the extract from pretty far away. Now, at what level should you have what stats, what items? This is very hard to tell because the RNG plays a lot here. You could have 10 different shops without any drones that you need. You could have everything that you want on the first one. But generally speaking, at level 6, you want at least 4 to 5 strength, 1 of the 2 drones you need, and some health. The reason being that level 5 has 3 enemies, level 6 has 6 enemies. So you want to start having some gear where you don't struggle as much with all these enemies. But even if you don't meet these requirements, it doesn't mean that your run is dead or it's behind. It's just a matter of being more patient, playing more passively, and making the best out of your situation. So I think this covers most of the stuff that you'll need from level 1 to 10 at least. This video is longer than I expected and took me a long time to make. I do plan on making a second part where I'm going to cover more in-depth mechanics and advanced strategies and how to have a consistent run late game, but this depends heavily on how well this video does because I spent a lot of time making this, and I hope that this video was helpful to you guys, and simply adding a like and a comment helps way more than you guys know. Of course, share if you found this useful and subscribe for more content, since I'm also going to keep going in my run that is level 100 currently. I plan on going until I die and changing my playstyle throughout the run. All of this is always always stream live on my Twitch channel where I stream a lot of different games, do challenge runs, speed runs, and sometimes dive into some games like R.E.P.O to understand some mechanics. I will also be making a series of long videos where I go through level 1 to 15 or level 1 to 20, where I basically explain everything I do and teach you guys how to have a good early game, which might make you guys enjoy the game more. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed this, like I said, please like and comment. It helps me a lot. Let me know what you guys would want to see in my future videos. And of course, I will be playing the new updates when they come out, and I will be attempting level 100 solo again. Share this video to people that you think might help, and of course subscribe for more content.